listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Good morning, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the...
Can we have a correctiones?
What?
Not Alan Cochrane.
Oh, no.
Just said.
Steve Hall.
Sorry, I'm
You
not...
just
Sorry,
did it.
readers.
I'm not-
Alan's in Edinburgh.
Look, I'm
You
not
lumbered
very
with me.
well. I'm drinking Diarrhea, for goodness sake. OK, Steve Hall. Now, you've stopped me before I've done the email thing. Oh, you've ruined everything. We could have corrected that later.
Oh, so you
People
forget
won't
him.
be able to email.
Yes, they will.
It's the worst possible start. OK. Anyway.
8:12:15 on the text, ladies and gentlemen.
Next time you should just pretend to be Alan for the rest of the show.
Legend. I don't like spending money.
Say
I
Alan
got to whip
Cochrane on
it.
the note. I don't know. Anyway, you don't want to hear this housekeeping. I'm sorry, everyone at home. You might not be at home. You might be on waste ground with some bottles of cider. Doesn't make you a bad person.
If you're at the Edinburgh Festival and you're working for Absolute Radio.
Well, we don't know that for certain.
Just saying.
So, yes, good morning. Sorry, Steve, but you could have let me
I
finish all
apologise.
that housekeeping. Yikes. Yes, so welcome. And I don't know if I've ever, in our long past, ever told this story, but in 1996, I went to the All-Star baseball game in Philadelphia.
Lovely.
I actually played in the softball.
Well,
Okay.
let's say 1996 was a big old year for you.
Oh, I'll say.
It was one of your, it's a big moment.
I remember sitting at the game, and they had, when they have shots of people in the crowd, and they had a shot
that.
of me sitting in the crowd. This is in Philadelphia, like I'm a big name.
Couple getting engaged.
And it said underneath, currently number one in the UK, which was
Fantastic.
true.
Oh,
but
great.
gave a
Shut up.
And LL Cool J, who was sitting in front of me, turned around and went, "Hey, cool, man." I said, "Who are you?" So anyway, there was a lot of events going on around the.
I wish they'd have done that at a youth event now. Currently number one in the UK.
They must have thought I was some, like Elton or something. And so anyway, the reason I'm telling this story is they had lots of corporate events, as you can imagine, around this big baseball thing. And we went into one that was like a sort of fair where they just gave you lots of free stuff. And there's a stage set up with, clearly there was going to be someone come on. And, if you ever get to any kind of corporate gig, and I don't know if you ever do, but if there's going to be a music act,
Yeah.
it's going to be... who was it that did Save Your Kisses for me?
So, Brotherhood of Man.
Yeah, but it's going to be Brotherhood of Man or something, Mod might be on.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought, no one knew who it was. So anyway, when the act came out, it was Aretha Franklin.
Oh,
wow.
shut up.
So I'm actually leaning on the stage, and Aretha Franklin comes walking out and does a corporate gig to about 200 people. But the bit that sticks in my mind more than anything is the guitar player has got two laminates on. One of them is tucked in his top pocket, so you can see the ribbon, but you can't see what the laminate is. And the other one hanging down was the standard 1996 All-Star Game laminate, like we was all wearing. And at one point, Aretha looked across at this guy, walked over to him, mid-song, still singing, took the laminate out of his pocket, which had got her face on, took that out of the pocket and put the other one in the pocket. So it was her face that was on the laminate. Visible. I'm not saying she wasn't a great singer,
No.
but I think she was strict. I think she kept a tight ship.
I like
Aretha.
that about Aretha.
Yeah, I'll always remember that, the enforced lemon. I mean, what I would have done is maybe said to him, "You better get my lemonade out, boy." And, good for you. And he could have done it, but to walk over mid-gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, it suggests an attention to detail, which I I dare I say it, respect.
I think it suggests a sort of a remember of the bosses, which is God bless her for that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're back on air.
Blimey.
I've been filling in on doing Alan's Friday night trawl. Steve
Lovely.
Hall covering the trawl.
Yeah.
And John Duff has written, having listened to last week's show, I think he's identified something that fell on stony ground.
Oh,
He said
okay.
it wasn't acknowledged last week, but Emily, your Sandy Toksvik was excellent.
Thank you.
What was that one? Remind me.
What were we talking? What, my Sandy Toksvig?
Yeah.
I
We
think
were
we were
discussing-
talking about Cake's Bake Off.
Yeah.
And we were imagining Gareth Southgate having a Bake Off party with some of the England players.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I might have said, Gareth, darling, have you got the Madeira? I love Toksvig.
Yeah, it's very good.
Do you know what? I want to become Toksvig. If I
You
could
will, Oscar, you will.
Could be a Britney Spears song, I'm addicted to you, but I know that you're Toksvik.
Oh.
Very fine.
We've also got 880.
Oh, yeah.
Morning,
That
guys.
sounds like an online betting company.
He says, I'm wondering if you three have any sage advice for a lonely student heading into his last Greek philosophy exam later this morning. Okay.
Wow.
I mean, it's one we might want to think
Yeah,
about throughout
yeah.
the show. No pressure to come up with something immediately, but I like the sound of Dan in Exeter.
Yes. Well, what I would suggest to him is that no man steps into the same river twice.
I love that. A life without examinations is intolerable to me,
Yeah.
is what I would say. I believe that was
It's an interesting
Socrates.
Greek philosophy.
Yeah.
There's a genuine possibility that what's the point might actually just be one of the exam questions.
Yeah.
It's been a week, of course, for those things on the news of people opening letters and looking excited,
Yeah.
you know. Kids.
Jumping into the air,
Kids
punching the air.
They never seem to have the people who failed.
Well, no, they go on Twitter because you get the spate of celebrities saying, "Well, I got 3 years."
Jeremy Clarkson is.
and then they'll say, "And my chef's just preparing my truffles as we
Right.
speak." So that's a
Okay.
thing now. Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I think Jeremy Clarkson does it as an annual tweet. I think he.
He
believe
got
so.
3 U's.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
so. Or a C and 2 U's or something. I mean, why would you bother recording them if they were that bad?
And then
I don't think we should celebrate ignorance in any aspect.
Yeah, I wonder if there's people going. It also does, like in my case, I did pretty well, and then I ruined my life at university. There's people who might go, you got 3 A's, but it could all still be downhill from here.
Yeah.
Maybe just celebrate doing well in your A levels and not worry about where it might end up.
Yeah.
I
That's a great idea.
Respect to anyone who did well in their A levels.
As I say, really, it will all come down anyway to how you pronounce the letter H. So,
Yeah.
this is what your success in life will be based on.
Is that still true?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
Can I went, if you remember, I was talking to you last week about the fact that I was off to Somerset House
Yes.
Yes.
to see Jodie Whittaker give a
Oh, of
talk
course, yes,
about
yes.
her
Oh,
favourite films that had influenced her life.
Oh, yeah.
Jodie Whittaker, you may know, is the new Doctor in Doctor Who. There'll be people who don't know that.
Indeed,
Yeah.
yes.
Always.
Yeah, and you thought, Frank, it might be because she's quite a sort of. I imagine there'd be some gritty northern.
That's what I was
Things in there.
expecting. It wasn't
Yes.
really true. I thought it would be A Taste of Honey and Man at the Top.
Oh, was it more Dirty
Stuff like
Dancing?
It was more. It was a lot of films I hadn't seen actually, like The Goonies.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I
And,
walked out of that when I was about 12.
Oh,
yeah.
did you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you'd love this. And Blair Witch.
Oh,
which,
yeah.
Again, I've never
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it leave you inspired to watch them?
Not Blair Witch. That just looked terrifying. I don't like horror films. of
Frank
any
doesn't
aspect.
like scary
Oh, do you not?
movies. Hmm.
They actually do that which they are supposed to do. I actually lie awake in the night thinking that someone is standing in the corner of my bedroom. I mean, I literally think that someone will get out the wardrobe and stuff like that.
And so what about the scarier Doctor Who ones?
No, I'm all right with House, for goodness sake. What do you think I am? Some sort of... You make me sick.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I was looking at the Somerset Live website.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very interested in all things parochial. And
yes,
any sort of local papers or anything like that. I love the way everything is twisted to make it local.
Yeah.
And they announced that Jodie Whittaker becoming Doctor Who. And I wrote down what they wrote. Dorset set Broadchurch actor. Bear in mind, she's not from there, but she was in a programme that was set there.
Yeah.
Dorset set Broadchurch actor beats Somerset's Chris Marshall as Peter Capaldi replacement. Because there was some suggestion that Chris Marshall might be the next Doctor.
Everything is geared towards...
So I wonder if they have a thing saying new Doctor Who appears at house named after Somerset. Because she was at Somerset House this weekend. Anyway, so she clearly survived the last that we saw of the Doctor.
Don't spoil it, I'm saving it up.
No, but she fell out the TARDIS and plummeted towards the Earth.
Oh,
that was how she was left.
Yeah.
A bit like, do you remember...
is that her
that's
arrival?
How they left it.
Yes.
That's how they left it, yeah.
Well, that sounds good. Maybe I'll watch it.
I think you should watch it.
Do you know?
Because it's a great step forward for feminism.
Well, I think I like her. I'm a fan of her, so I might start watching it.
Give it
Goodness
a go.
me, this would be revolutionary.
I mean, I've
give
said
it a
this
go.
many times before, Frank, and I've never done it.
No, I know.
But this might be the one.
You're a Day of the Triffids girl, so this is a big...
Yeah, exactly.
Big bit of glasnost.
But do you know when Lego Alfred the Butler fell out of the plane in the Batman Lego movie? It's very, very similar trope to that. Do you remember that?
I don't think I've watched that film.
Can I say it's a brilliant film? I would very much recommend it. So anyway,
I think I have seen that. Is that Everything is Awesome? I don't know, maybe that's something else. I'm looking.
That's the first one. I think that's the Lego movie.
Oh, sorry, I haven't caught up with the sequel. Anyway.
So I arrived there. There's lots of people outside, obviously, of a Doctor Who fan nature. Making do with my signature. When really they were, because I think I must get used to calling her Whittaker. I think it's very important we just call her Whittaker because people are calling her Jodie, I notice.
Yeah.
And all the doctors, people always say, oh yeah, Capaldi was brilliant and Tennant. So I think, in the sign of equality...
we've got to go surname. Okay.
They're always spoken of like at public school. They're all spoken of by their surname. So anyway, at the end, so I met a bloke there who was come over and said, I'm a big fan of yours and all that. Lovely. And I had my photo up with him. And after he said, look, I got something for you. Thanks for that. I got something for you. And he gave me the new sonic screwdriver.
Oh, wow. Lovely.
I mean, in my hand. It wasn't a prank.
So how did he get hold of one?
It wasn't some sci-fi ritual.
Are they on sale yet?
Yeah, I think they must be on sale now, the toys. Oh. It was very exciting.
What did you make?
Incredibly lovely gift, that.
Yeah, it is.
I wonder if it...
And so apt, considering the nature of the event. Is that what you were thinking? But it was... I'll tell you what was great about it is at the end, she said, look, I'm not going to do autographs because I've got a really long name. I thought that's a good... Great. She said, but if anyone wants a photo... And of course, the entire audience lined up, including me, I have to say.
Oh, did you?
To get a photo.
Did you get the photo?
Well, someone very, very sweetly, someone came up to me and said, look, would you like to come backstage and do it? Oh. And I said, oh, OK then.
Were you happy?
So I waited at the back. There was a point where there was 3 people getting their photo took with me, just while they were killing time, and where there's an enormous queue. I was like the studio theatre to her main auditorium.
Well, it's a lovely support act, though. It's a nice surprise. It's like when a support act, you're like, oh, they're not bad.
Perkins
I quite
in the
like
house.
them. Yeah, Perkins is there.
Exactly.
Had you met her before?
I met her very briefly at a thing where she just said, all right, love, or something like that. At the opening
Rita Fairclough.
The opening of the Ned.
Yes, I was there with you, darling. I was one of your plus ones. You had about plus
But no,
4.
as everyone says, she's very, very, very nice person.
So you had the picture taken. Was it better than the Buzz Aldrin experience? Yeah.
Yeah, she was a bit friendlier than that.
Oh, good. Well, that's not hard, is it?
We did actually chat and have a go for a drink. I didn't get...
Whoa.
No, not just me and her.
Know about this.
Come on,
What?
guys.
What the?
Come on.
You went for a drink with Doctor Who?
I've had a drink with Doctor Who before now.
How many Doctor Who's have you had a drink with?
I've had a drink with... I did Peter Capaldi and Tom Baker even.
If you go for a drink with them, you can go, whose round is it?
Oh.
Does that work?
Whose round is it anyway?
She wouldn't say whose round is it. That'd be like their surname. You wouldn't say Skinner's round is it. Doesn't make any sense. Go back to the drawing board. That's my advice.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Can I just say, this student is... Well, no, he's asking. He's saying, thanks for the philosophy advice, guys. The exam's at 9:30, so it's come in handy. Have we made it in time? Yeah.
Did we help with that? Look, I just think it's so brilliant that anyone is studying Greek philosophy in 2018 that I just want to tell that student that they are my hero. So what about that? I nearly said how's about that then, but those days are gone. I'm sorry if I'm a bit sluggish this morning. I'm on various.
He's heavily medicated.
I'm heavily medicated. It's true. Oh, it's all gone a bit. Good morning, Vietnam.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Frank, I've got a whatever happened to.
Oh yeah.
This is from 153. Morning, Frank and the gang. Whatever happened to? Well, I like that they say whatever happened to start you off.
Why
I like that.
I'll tell you what. Do you want me to go?
Whatever Happened to.
When shops closed down, the windows, they used to be covered in newspaper.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah? You like that?
Has that stopped?
You don't see that these days. Pros included. That's from Norwich.
Is that because of the death of print media?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The newspaper thing, definitely. That was a big thing, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I'm surprised that's...
Well, yeah, maybe that is, because newspaper used to be used for so many things.
Yeah.
Chips.
Oh, I had one come to me this week, actually.
Go on.
Whatever happened to.
Eloping.
Yes.
And when people used to elope,
Yeah.
and
Gretna Green.
they would just disappear off somewhere and then come back married.
Well, there was a Gretna Green story very regularly in the press. Now these young people won't even know what that is.
A friend of mine went to... Yeah, Gretna Green was a place in... I guess it's a place in Scotland where you could just go and get married sort of immediately.
Yes, and my parents would always make jokes about it on the motorway and say, oh, that's where you'll end up.
Yeah. America has Las Vegas. We have Gretna Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I remember a friend of mine got married. He did exactly that, drove off to Gretna Green. And they had...
One of the staff's stomachs has just rumbled, just so you know.
They had 2 witnesses. Sexy.
I should point out someone said that to Frank once.
Yeah.
Where were you?
I was at the theatre in Edinburgh. My stomach rumbled and a woman next to me went, sexy.
I mean, what is this strange pressure on you to be sexy all the time like a Madonna?
Exactly. It didn't last long.
Humour's your brand. Go on.
Oh, God, what was I saying?
You were talking about Gretna Green.
Oh, yeah. So we went and got married in Gretna Green, and they had to have 2 witnesses still, and the witnesses was a cleaner and a woman who'd come to pay her rent. Very, very romantic.
My wife and I eloped. We went off to
You're joking.
we went off to Vegas. And because my wife's
You weren't
Australian.
married by an Elvis
No,
impersonator?
it turns out within our price range, the Elvis impersonators were quite expensive.
Okay.
So for what we could afford, I look more like Elvis than the Elvis impersonators.
Okay.
So we got married on the top of the Stratosphere Tower, and the minister married us and then said, I pronounce you man and wife, and then we were catapulted 500 feet into the air.
Really?
Yeah, it was really good fun. But our witness was he was the photographer, and he acted as the witness as well. And as I kissed my now wife for the first time, he went, "Go on, slip her the tongue," which is the most Vegas moment. But we eloped, much to the chagrin of my parents.
But what about laugh?
Exactly. We've had another whatever happened to
Oh.
Chris Buckle has said whatever happened to Knight's moves on Emily.
Yeah, well, we tried to discourage that, to be honest.
Oh, has that been
In the
actively
current
discontinued?
climate.
Well, he then says
I don't
Yeah.
try and discourage it.
No, but yeah, as you say, in the current climate.
Yeah.
We always had blokes sending in and saying, I'd be very happy to show
Oh, I see, right.
Emily around Dunstable. She's over in the area, and there was something wrong about it. So listen, I was on holiday this week,
Oh, yeah.
and they had a swimming pool, and yeah,
Flashy.
yeah, exactly. I know how to live. And it wasn't cold. It was cold for a man of my age. And so what I thought I'll swim for a bit, and then I'll get in the jacuzzi at the end just
Very
to
nice.
warm up as the jacuzzi's.
Look at you,
Lovely.
swimming confidently. Lovely, isn't it, these days?
So there was a couple in there, but I thought it's all right. It's a communal thing. So me and Kath got in the jacuzzi, and then Buzz came.
Oh,
jumped in.
God. Oh,
What?
God. Buzz was there.
Yeah, Buzz got in as well. And then, so afterwards, someone said to me, you know you were with in the jacuzzi?
Yeah.
I said, no. And they said it was Keeley Hawes.
oh yeah,
Do you know Keeley Hawes?
Yeah.
No, but thanks for the tip.
I know, you
No,
can't do that
yeah,
one.
and,
okay, that's not going to be allowed.
Keeley Hawes, open brackets, spooks, close brackets. And I only say that because every actor I ever know has after their name,
Yeah.
open brackets, spooks. And Matthew McFadden, is it?
Yeah,
how you say it?
Fadden,
lovely.
Yeah. Open brackets, spooks, close brackets, spooks.
Is he, oh, yeah, he spooks. I think
Yeah.
of him as more Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, okay. Which I think she was in Doctor Who. She was in the same series that I was in fact.
I like that suddenly
Right,
people go way up in your estimation
What
when
was
they're
her
in
name,
Doctor Who.
Steve? It was something like...
I'm trying to remember what episode. I mean,
I'm sure it's okay.
Miss Beetlebrocks or something like
Yeah.
that. She's the one
Oh,
with the
yes,
big
yeah,
glasses.
yeah.
Sort of evil, femme fatale type
Oh,
figure.
sounds like me.
Yeah. Yeah, so... yeah, we had a bit of jacuzzi action.
wow.
I'm going to say like,
Was she?
something
Was she?
terrible.
Was it her in Ashes to Ashes as well?
Oh, look, this is not IMDb. I'm just saying that it's for one brief moment it was celebrity heavy, that jacuzzi.
Well, I think you'll find it was celebrity soup in that jacuzzi.
It was. It
And
was-
I wish I'd been that crouton in there.
Yes, well, but if I'd known it was them, would I have?
Been nicer.
Do you say hello to people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've never met? You never interviewed them in the past, or?
Don't be ridiculous.
Well, you do the you do the sort of Brotherhood of Celebrity
Oh yeah,
nod?
I definitely do that.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Paul Henry from Crossroads working in a pub in Birmingham. And
Sorry, can we just explain who that is to
he
people?
played a character called Benny,
Yeah.
who
Who was? How would you describe him, Frank? Giving you that hospital pass?
he was a simple rustic
Yeah, he was rustic. Is a great description.
character, and I remember walking in and just walking over and shaking hands. The whole pub went quiet and looked at us. It's a brilliant moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
I always think it was like when the bloke playing the devil shakes hands with one of the Nazi officers in the art house movie Mephisto.
Oh. You work out who was who.
Absolute Radio, ladies and gentlemen.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've heard from Somerset Live.
Oh yeah.
you were talking, was it specifically about them earlier? Or
Well, yeah.
Somerset-based journalism?
Well, it was about Somerset Live and their coverage of their announcement of Jodie Whittaker becoming the new doctor.
As a doctor. So, with its Somerset slant.
Yes.
This is James from Somerset Live. Hi, Frank, Emily and Steve, not Alan. I am the weekend editor of Somerset Live. Oh, Frank. And my ears certainly pricked up with your mention of our site and how we announced Jodie Whittaker as a new doctor. I'm now working on a new story about a chart-topping comedian revealing the ingenious way we announced how Broadchurch's Jodie beat Somerset star to the top job in the TARDIS. I'll send you a link when it's live. Kind regards, James Brinsford.
Well, thank you for that.
That's
James.
great.
Yeah.
I wish I could offer you some link between me and Somerset. I've been to Somerset,
Yeah.
if that counts.
David Baddiel's
And,
partner's from there, I believe. Oh, no, she's not, is she?
And
That part
I
of the world.
think I playfully described it as Somerset, which I think is what you're supposed to do if you're a local.
Quite a few of the readers this morning are pointing to a story in Somerset about a missing wedding ring being dug up and found on a carrot, which I think has been a theme of this show before. There's a new one, and that took place in Somerset.
That was a Somerset.
That was a
God,
Somerset
that
one this
must
week.
have owled the front page of Somerset Live.
I'm surprised they've had a moment to get in touch with us today.
Yeah, ring on carrot. I mean, wow.
Ring on carrot. I love that Hanna-Barbera film.
It was a follow-up to The Sword in the Stone. Less popular, I think it's fair to say.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
So,
Do you,
this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Steve Hall, who's with us today. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Look, I'm not well, so if I sound a bit sluggish, it's not that I'm not interested. Inside, I'm bursting with enthusiasm. I just can't get it to hit my tongue.
Okay, love.
We've
working at it.
We've heard from the outside world, Frank. Sen has emailed saying, "Dear Frank, I was in the Absolute Radio library browsing through back issues when I read the chapter in which Frank mentioned that he always imagined Jedward doing leapfrogs,
Oh, yeah.
though you didn't know why. Sen says, I think I have the answer. Jed would have a silhouette remarkably similar to that of the imps that appeared in Rupert the Bear. Playful imps were often shown leapfrogging.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So that's
I hope it's that.
Do you know, when you said the Absolute Radio Library, for a moment, and this is probably a sign of my age, I genuinely thought it was some, like the Bodleian. I thought there was a purple library.
It's a very elegant imagery that Sen has
Beautiful.
created. It's lovely.
Yeah, I would. I'd like to visit that building. I must imagine high, stacked with.
Can I say...
Imagine the OC memorial section. I mean, that would be a special thing to see. They could have
Silence in this
the
section.
Men Commandments, which was the book that he brought out. Fantastic.
Can I say we're also getting a lot of love this morning for Frank's Q&A that he did this week. I know we're a Somerset Live station now,
Yeah.
but Frank was in ES magazine, which comes with the Evening Standard, and he did the My London Q&A.
My London.
Yes, I'd just like to read you one of his answers.
I can't say my London without thinking, yes, my London.
Well, can I say, when I worked in another life at ES magazine, I was told
Hold
that...
it, what was your official job title?
You know very well what it
I
was,
love
Frank.
this. Go on, what was it?
It was editor at large.
Oh,
Editor.
wonderful.
The other one was in
That-
prison.
I think it was what first attracted Frank to me as a friend.
I love Editor
Yeah.
at Large. It's so marvellous.
Anyway,
I imagine a big police search going on for the Editor at Large.
Did you object to the word large being used? We go, editor at medium at best.
no, it was fine. I mean, I barely ate back then, so it was pretty obvious to everyone. So someone has actually gone as far as to send a screen grab. So much do they like one of Frank's
Fantastic.
answers, which I'm afraid I'm going to share with you. I have to. Best thing a cabbie has ever said to you. A Latvian woman, as she drove me down Regent Street, asked why young men were queuing outside Niketown. I explained it was because some new trainers had arrived. She said nothing for about a minute, and then with great seriousness, I have queued for cheese.
I remember it was on my way here, actually, one day.
So great.
So I was told at the time, this is the best Q&A that's ever been done.
Yeah.
And now it's been surpassed
That's
by
brilliant,
Frank.
yeah.
I recommend you check it out. It's very funny.
Is this the Q&A where do you also mention having a fruit fly infestation?
Yes,
That's
he
right,
does.
Because
Yeah.
I've also had a fruit fly infestation, so I felt your pain when I read that.
It must be a
but
thing.
Yeah.
guys, we need to remember Somerset Live, so I don't want to talk about this too much.
No.
Okay?
No, you're quite right. I feel that's our new allegiance. I'm
It
just
really
not very
is.
up. If I had to do a thing called My Somerset, it would
What
be
would you say?
It'd be scratchy at best.
Okay, put you on the spot now. What would you say about Somerset?
I'd say, can you just have a big picture of me wearing a smock with an agricultural smock and leave it at that?
Could we argue that Somerset House is technically part of
I
Somerset?
don't think it is.
Frank,
Hey.
someone's invited me of a tour of Hales Owen. Does that sound
Nice
good?
move.
Yeah. What's Hales Owen?
Hales Owen is where I used to teach when I was at a college of FE, Hales Owen College.
Oh, okay.
Very nice, Hales Owen.
Okay. Central Reservation, maybe? See you there.
Yeah, I don't think I was drinking in those days. I spent less time sleeping on central reservations.
Yeah.
When I say I slept on central, I don't mean I was part of the Native American nation. I just got drunk and slept on central reservations. I'm sorry, I'm not suggesting it's a good thing, children.
I hope someone's just tuned in.
Yeah,
This Q&A took a dark turn.
I'm saying it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing.
It is a bad thing.
Yeah. Okay. How do we get out of this link now on a high note? It's tricky, isn't
What are
it?
we going to do?
Somerset Live, help us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you know about Somerset, Steve?
I know almost. I think
You ever
Ian.
been?
I've never. Ian Botham, I think, did he play for Somerset?
He did.
That's about.
So did Vivian Richards.
Oh well, that's.
And I think Joel Garner too, in fact.
Oh,
well,
lovely.
immediately, that's fantastic already.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the way out of this link.
Viv Richards.
Yeah, through 70s cricket. Yeah, let's try 70s cricket as a sort of safe. Would it be 70s or 80s?
I'd go 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Ian Botham's autobiography called Frank
Don't Tell Kath.
was out then, and that was always a title you could use.
Does he still do his walks?
Yeah, he loves his walks.
I don't know if
That's a brilliant whatever happened to.
Ian Botham's walks. If anyone's seen him go past their house, I think he was ill. He sounded rough on
Seen him?
Yeah. I imagine there's no one with him. It's just him walking in a mac, in a raincoat.
The posse's got smaller and smaller.
Oh no. They've had to give him a Fitbit to establish that anything has taken place.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, I'm aware I've had some kind of sympathetic looks from both of you upon arrival this morning.
No more than normal.
No, fair enough. Indeed. I have had the worst
Do I
haircut.
give anyone with a suit jacket and blue jeans and trainers?
Is that...
Goodness me.
I always think they got to be working in comedy clubs somewhere or other. It's got that look to it.
Excellent. Well, that's good. There's a sartorial intervention.
Well, I had a similar look last week. I had a bit of a suit jacket and jeans look, which I always think makes me look like Lady descending into the pit in Mock the Week.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, that's the look I was going for.
I always think...
Saying, is it? Okay.
I think Steve always looks like he could be in Jules Holland's band.
Oh, boogie woogie.
Yeah, a bit of boogie woogie piano.
I think I'm flattered by that.
Yeah.
It could be a lot worse, love.
Yeah, I've heard a lot worse. I had the most disastrous haircut of my life this week.
Oh, no.
And,
That's all right, Steve.
Well, that's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Oh.
I bumped into a hairdresser I haven't visited in 2 years.
Do you like when Frank said, looks all right, Steve? I went, oh. No, it doesn't look that bad.
Well, it's basically, this is the first haircut of a bald man accepting that he's bald, I think. It's the first time it's been shaved.
Okay, so
properly.
have you been doing? You've been a bit Michael Keaton in the past.
Yeah,
haven't you? You've left it a bit frizzy at the front. That's always a mistake. That just makes people anxious.
Yeah. Shades. It's not as extreme as Bobby Charlton, but it's in the same ballpark.
Ballpark. Yeah.
Well,
I think it looks. I think of you as balding.
Yes, yeah, that's and I'm at ease with that. But it's the first time he ever shaved the
Hair
middle
balding.
of it. I didn't.
She's good.
Very nice.
Oh, she's good.
So did you have a sort of Maldives atoll at the front before?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It was sort of the last outpost
I've got it.
before it all went south. But he guilt tripped me. I bumped into him in the street and he went, how come I never see you anymore? And I panicked. And rather than saying, all is vanity and I've been going to Tony and Guy, I just lied.
Have you been going to Tony and Guy?
In the self-delusion.
How much does that cost?
It's about 50 quid. But it's insanity. The self-delusion of a bald man sort of going, maybe if I throw some money at this problem,
I went to Tony and
I think
Guy.
your hair always looks lovely, Steve.
The people were so cool when I went to Tony and Guy. They could hardly move. I mean, they oh man, they were so
What was it,
trendy.
piercings? That vibe?
No, just, that sort of, I haven't made an effort at all, but I've made a real effort not to make an effort. That
Okay.
thing.
right, yeah.
But they were moving like the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz, because they were so self-conscious.
Yeah.
So many mirrors in there. I thought I am never going. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure it's a lovely place, and I had exactly the same haircut I have in Mr. Topper for 9 quid. But I'm surprised you went to Tony and Guy.
Yeah. And then
T&G.
Yeah, but it was just purely, I think, a sort of panacea, thinking it would be all right. And then, but I lied to him. I lied to Jimmy, the wonderful barber. Rather than saying I've been going to Tony and Guy, I panicked and went, my mate works in telly and I get his makeup lady to do it. And it's just,
that's a proper fall.
Yeah, utterly, and he saw through it straight away. It's so obviously nonsensical.
And also, it's just the practicalities of it. What, the makeup lady? What's she getting out of it? Does she come to the home? That's going through his head.
You're on air 52 weeks a year, so whenever you need a haircut, it's so obviously a lie. And then when he looked at it, he started going, you can tell this hasn't been done by someone. Probably he's basically going, you've had cowboys in.
Yeah.
Because you're saying this is all uneven. And I was thinking that's
now
probably my skull rather than the haircut.
Now I feel outraged on behalf of the imaginary makeup artist. She did an okay job. Leave her alone.
I feel a bit bad for Tony and Guy. I've been charging 50 quid and he's finding all sorts of faults in it. Oh dear.
But he shaved it and I wasn't ready for the fact that he was going to shave it, and so that was the moment
Revenge.
I was like, it's all gone.
He's got vengeful.
When I went into Tony and Guy, I thought they felt that it's like a virus in the machine, that somebody uncool had come in.
Do you know what I like? How far we've come. The two gentlemen are talking about their hairdresser visits.
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
My one visit to T&G.
So I actually think it looks lovely.
Oh, well, bless your heart.
Okay.
It's odd because no member of my family went bald until they were 70, and my wife saw it and went, well, you look great for 70.
Okay, keep it light, love, about the family baldness.
Whereas my mum says I look like David Baddiel, but David is not bald, so I don't understand that.
Not yet.
David's got a lot of hair,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
Whereas my dad said I look like a cathedral gargoyle.
That's not so nice.
Well, I think that's
Do
accurate.
you want
but that's-
my therapist's number? She's really good. She goes back into family stuff
do you
a
get
lot.
gargoyles?
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's a.
Well, I used to live in a house with gargoyles.
Did you really?
Yeah. That's it. I have nothing more to say on that. Yeah. More gothic. Lovely it was.
Nice.
And it was, were they came with the house? Or
Yeah.
did you add them?
No. How dare you? My family weren't that weird looking. Those were just the Doctor Who actors coming
Did
round.
water come out of their mouth?
No.
Oh, so
They were wooden, yeah.
Oh, they were wooden gargoyles.
Carved. I'll show you some pictures.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you the pictures.
How many?
About 6.
With the extended medieval tongue. That's, that's the one I like.
Do I look like any of them?
Only about one of them.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
They haven't caught on in the modern housing thing at all.
I'd like a really modern building just with gargoyles, like some flats, just gargoyles.
Winning
What
the
if
Sterling Prize.
there's a meeting at Barrett House? Somebody said, you know what I was thinking? You know, the drain pipe thing, we're not really doing anything with it. What about gargoyle?
Glass and chrome gargoyle.
He'd have a little file, a little presentation called Gargoyles Allowed when he talked about his new plan. And you could have them modelled on members of your family.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so have them, you know, they have the kids. And
Do you know, as my adopted family, I'd choose you, Frank.
Oh, thank you. I'd be happy to have
Okay.
my mouth watering over your
Okay,
house.
go to the music.
What?
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Now, I wanted to talk about Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
Have you seen Rod Stewart is having a big old auction?
Yes.
You can own some of Rod Stewart's property.
Yes.
I sort of love Rod Stewart. He's kind of really comes across like a good bloke, like a decent human being. And so he's auctioning off about 40 grand's worth of furniture. I mean, and he's referring to he's having a good old-fashioned clear-out.
Yeah.
Fans of the singer can own items like a leopard print armchair or a figure of a banjo player.
Yeah, some of those are a bit... he's...
I mean, it might be the worst furniture I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, there is that.
Oh, no. I really like it.
Oh, you don't?
I do. I really like it. Now, we need to... I have to tell you why. I genuinely like that.
Okay.
Okay, the Baroque gilt. There's a one figure or figurine. I believe it's cherubs climbing up a pineapple.
Yes, exactly.
Which-
There's a lot of that. I wouldn't
J'adore.
say it was... do you remember that advert, Chock Out the Chintz? Rod obviously did not do that.
Yeah, but at least he's not fly tipping. You know, when people just leave their stuff outside their house, come
where
and leave a
could-
note, come and take it. No, thanks.
Yeah, but if you left that somewhere, I think people would say, I bet Rod Stewart's left that.
And he lives on like a 40-acre estate. Even getting to the road, it's quite a
Yeah.
trek.
Hey, guys, that's a good one. Whatever happened to litter bugs? Don't really get that anymore, do you, litter bugs?
Well, or road hogs. I
love it,
honestly
Frank.
think it's if you was to give me a list of the worst furniture, different types
Oh,
of
come
bad
on.
that kind of gilt, over elaborate.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awful.
I absolutely love it.
I used in his old place. I
Absolutely.
loved that he had a football pitch on his old house, and I love the simplicity of that. Whereas some of this stuff is quite ornate.
You haven't seen the football pitch. You probably have cherubs climbing up the goal
Yeah,
post.
yeah. What don't you like about the Louis Cannes, faux Louis
think-
Cannes? It's Louis Cannes' reproduction, we should say. I presume.
I just don't like that.
Not a fan of Baroque.
Well, what would you do if you bought? Where would you put it? If I was about to move into the Palace of Versailles, I might
everyone.
get some. But I just think I once looked at a house. I was looking at houses to buy, and this one had got gold flamingos as taps.
Wow.
And the water come out the mound.
Oh,
Right,
I love
yeah.
that.
And I thought...
Bling, bling, bling.
Exactly. I thought, even if I had these removed, I'd always blame the house that they were there in the first place.
But Frank, I like a rock star who lives like a rock star. I don't want a rock star to have, mole's breath, tasteful grey kitchen. I'm not into that.
No.
I want tantrums and tiaras and cherubs climbing up pineapples.
Do you own any rock and roll memorabilia?
No. I don't really collect things like that, if I'm honest with you. I don't. Frank's got a few bits and bobs. I mean, I don't know how... yeah, you got Elvis's shirt, for heaven's sake.
Well, no, I gave that to the Tsunami Fund.
Oh, that's so kind of you, Frank.
Yeah, that's me.
But not-
Big-hearted Arthur, they call me.
I don't really have stuff
Oh, no,
like
sorry, I
that, Steve.
misread that.
I feel like...
Bigoted, actually. it says.
I feel like Steve might have rock and roll memorabilia, which is why he asked me.
No, I've got an old girlfriend gave me one of
An
Shed.
old girlfriend does not qualify for rock and roll memorabilia.
No.
She gave me one of
And it
Shed,
is.
the drummer from Shed
Unless-
7, one of his drumsticks, Alan Leach. And then when she dumped me, she took it back.
Oh, really?
Alan
So you
Leach's
don't even
drumstick.
have
I
it
don't even have it
anymore.
anymore.
Sting in the tail, sting in the Shed 7 tail.
Oh, yeah, imagine losing her and that.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got through that, mate.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Did you have any other rock and roll memory? Because the Elvis shirt was quite famous because there was the TV show about it. Have you picked up any other bits and bobs over the years?
I mean, I got signed, picture type things. Have I got any actual memorabilia?
Were you ever a set list collector after gigs?
I have got a full set list.
Oh, brilliant! That's great.
Yeah. There used to be a big race for the full set list, but a bloke actually got one and then gave me the set list.
Oh, that's lovely. That's really nice.
Ah, yes. I'll tell you what, when I looked at Rod's furniture and how terrible it was, it's funny.
I mean, we stop saying like we all agree that. I happen to like that furniture, okay?
For years, right, and I used to be quite a big fan of Rod in his early manifestations.
Yeah. What's your favourite Rod Stewart song, Frank?
Well, one of them would be Los Paraguayas. Remember that?
No, I don't know that one. I'm more of a sort of obvious Maggie May fan, sailing.
Tell you, but I think I'm catching a cold. Right? Next
Strange
line.
opener.
And the next line...
A bit of a downer.
The next line I never understood until I saw these pictures this week. Put another chair on the fire, bring the bottle over here. And I thought, why would you put a chair on the fire? Now I've seen his chairs. Yeah, do put another chair on the fire, which is probably where Hot Legs came from as well.
I'd never before. His cover of Cigarettes and Alcohol is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
he's really...
I'm not sure of Rod's financial situation. I don't wish to pry. But it is quite unusual for a celebrity to flog their hand-me-down furniture so publicly, would you say?
Yeah.
And I will say, at this point, Britt Eklund used to describe him as, I think she'd say he was so tight it caused him pain to go to the bathroom. And I believe it was Ronnie Wood who said he was as tight as 2 coats of paint.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, lovely. I enjoy that.
I heard the phrase, someone used the phrase, he's so selfish he'd peel an orange in his pocket.
Yes.
Oh, well, 1 minute you're praising Rod, and
I'm not saying that of
I'm praising him. I'm just saying I love that furniture. Keep that furniture. No need to flog it. Why are you flogging it?
Why is
possibly
he flogging it?
Because I'm just saying he likes his money.
Well, they could turn it into an episode of Cash in the Attic. Put him on that.
You know those people who go into a coma and when they come out of it they talk Chinese? Do you know those people? Do you think Rod
I never believed them.
I wonder if Rod just woke up with taste one morning and went, get these chairs out of here immediately, and that's what's happened. He's kicked the whole lot out.
I love that a spokesman said it's all very rock and roll, like a furniture sale is.
And it isn't.
Yeah, and the only way it's rock and roll, if you throw all of those things out of the window, that's the only way to make that rock and roll. If
it said baroque and roll,
excellent.
Yeah, very good. They didn't have the right headline for it, Frank. Sorry, it was they had something like "Do you think I'm thrifty?" And I thought you could have gone for "I am sailing." It's there, staring you in the face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The first, and for a sail, the first cuts are the deepest.
Oh no, it's taken it too far now.
I've gone too far with the discounts. He wouldn't. Sorry, he wouldn't discount anything.
No,
the premise is wrong.
Yes, you're quite right.
But I did like when I was reading it, the ad next to it, this story, was how looking to build wealth after 60, which I thought was great. Targeted ads.
Do you remember he was part of a phenomenon that we used to be known as carbon dating, in which people always went out with people that looked the same, like carbon copies of their previous partner.
Yeah.
And he went out with about 6 tall blonde women.
Yeah, all the same.
All look the same. And my theory was, at the time, you may remember, was he just didn't want to change the girlfriend avatar on his Wii.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I'm so sorry. I was about to say, we've had a correzione.
Yeah.
But I take issue with this correzione.
Okay.
Because I think you were correct. I will share it with you. Sorry, Frank, but what you are referring to, and this is to go back to an Aretha Franklin story you told at the beginning of the show,
Yeah.
is a lanyard, not a laminate, and blah blah blah. They go on. The Absolute Radio website says we are joined by Alan Cochrane today. So 2 corrections. However, I would take issue with that. Because I would say the card itself is laminated on the lanyard.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It is. You call it a laminate.
Yes.
That's what they call it. And it's
Okay.
on a lanyard.
Yeah.
So what was actually secreted in the bloke's pocket was a laminate. Okay, clear that
Okay,
up.
I just, you know...
But thanks for joining in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Robin has tweeted the show to say
Robin has tweeted. Is this a bit like Blackbird has spoken like the first bird?
That was 933, by the way. Credit where it's due.
Oh, yeah,
Correct,
yeah.
Robin says Rod the Mod Stewart was quoted by his bandmates from the Faces days as being so tight he'd bend down to tie a slip-on shoe.
No, but there's more to that, isn't there?
So he'd be last in the pub to pay for the first round.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the idea. So that when they bought the first round, he bent down, pretending he was
So that
tied.
he pretends he's otherwise engaged.
I've
Yeah,
not done.
did you think that was an old Cockney saying?
I thought it was just a phrase, yeah, that is...
It's like a 2 coats of paint,
Yeah.
Ronnie Wood.
I didn't
Yeah.
realise that he used to work in Highgate Cemetery as a young man. I because of his Scottish connection, I thought he was born in Scotland. I didn't realise he was a North London boy.
Well, his dad is
Yeah, he's one
buried
of
in
mine.
Highgate Cemetery.
Oh, is he?
And he's got a massive headstone thing, and it says "Thanks for the Scottish Pride, Dad," on it.
Oh, how lovely.
And we don't say how lovely on this show, Steve.
What should I have said in response to that uplifting
It's just
thing? Okay, I'll remember
best.
that. I'll do that.
You sound like, but you know what? That reminds me of when the
You sound like you'd be happy on one of his chairs.
I happen to like those chairs. What about when the man, when I was showed me around Highgate Cemetery and said, "Yeah, we get a lot of celebrities here." Oh, yeah. George Michael's mother. Oh.
So really, the
Christina
parents
Rossetti.
mainly the parents of celebrities.
Mainly the
In fact,
parents.
in your
yeah.
Q&A, you mentioned the one where Hugh Gateskill and Peter Cook, which is not Highgate, is it? That's in Hampstead.
No, that's in Hampstead.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful one.
John Constable's just over the road in another one.
Oh, is he?
Oh,
Yeah.
enough about graves.
Yeah, exactly. I love a celebrity
Graves this, graves that.
Celebrity graves. That could be the new feature on the show. And people say, "No, yeah, I saw her." Okay, maybe.
What's
not.
your favourite celebrity grave? Mine, Litvinenko. Lovely grave.
Where is that one?
Highgate Cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I went to that one in.
It's all safe, can I just say now?
Yeah.
It's okay.
I went to the that one in Paris where
Oh, the Père Lachaise.
Père Lachaise, yeah.
Yeah.
where Oscar Wilde is all covered in lipstick
Yeah.
kisses. Do you know that?
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love a bit of that. I saw.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not go any further
Okay.
into the graves thing. Let
How are
us
we going to
not.
get out, Frank? How are we going to get out the graves?
Let us not. Let us not forget my trip to Colonel Sanders. Right.
Have you ever seen that, Steve?
Is it okay to have your photo taken with your arm around the headstone? It was the moral question.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan and Steve Hall.
Yeah.
It's such a struggle. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Okay. 867 got in touch. We were talking about sort of celebrity memorabilia earlier, or specifically rock and roll memorabilia. We have a photo of John Lennon in a swimming pool at a hotel in Barbados, holding up a sign with no swimming on it. For years, my father said he took the photo, but confessed recently he stole it off the hotel notice board.
Oh.
Gone off your dad.
I wonder what brought about that confession
Yeah.
after all these years.
Oh, dear.
I kept a light ale bottle that Ray Davies passed
Did you?
from the stage at
that's
Birmingham
great.
Town Hall. It wasn't signed or anything. I
Yeah.
just kept the light ale bottle, but I moved
Yeah.
the house a bit, and it
That might have come in useful
disappeared.
for you, darling. Frank.
Now I think he goes to my partner's gym.
Oh,
She
really?
said you should come.
Strange love rival.
She said you should come in and just, bump into him. I can't do that. I don't. Ray Davis going to be doing his stretches. Would just seem wrong. Ray Davis is the lead man with the Kinks. In case you're.
No, but Frank, lovely
any
to have a
kids?
nice 61-year-old groupie. Who likes that?
I told you when Orlando Bloom. Did I tell you about that? Orlando Bloom
he's at the gym as well.
He's at the gym.
Yeah.
Or he was. I don't know if he is now. And he used to be on the machine. Did I tell you this on the
No,
show?
I can't remember, but go on.
And he had a woman who would be doing lines with him, so she'd be standing there with a script, and he'd be doing lines while he was on the. You've got to have tremendous self-confidence.
Yeah.
To do
I
that.
mean, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Drop and give me a soliloquy.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could do that myself. But respect that he can do that.
Oh, respect. I need to share something with you. I'm struggling with audiences, which, I mean, I know you
Yeah,
two.
I can relate to that.
Okay. Well,
Steve, empty hall. I'm surprised you brought that up.
I mean, whilst I'm sitting as an audience member, so I'm struggling with fellow audience members.
Oh, people
okay?
can't do it anymore. It's an art that's been lost. It's
Well, this
like,
is
it's
what-
like crofting. It is. People can't. They just can't. People can't sit and concentrate on anything. For
I
more
think you might be right. And as someone who, I'd almost put myself in the bracket of elderly these days.
Oh, come on.
Was the right thing to say. I've got used to having to sit still for long periods of time. So I've had this 3 times recently. I had it at Ian McKellen's Lear.
Oh yes.
I had it at Simon Callow's Wild.
Okay.
Thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
And I had it even recently at a rather more modern affair at a film premiere of the festival. I don't know if you've heard about it. Anyway, it's out at the moment, but I went to the premiere this week and I took my niece. And in fact, your old runner is the person behind it.
Yes.
You recall?
I should say a runner, in case you don't know, is a
Ian
person
Morris.
who works on TV things and stuff and makes the tea and goes and get. I sent him for roe and chips once, and he went, "Okay, I'm right. I'll go and get it." He'd obviously never heard of roe. in his life.
This was on Fantasy Football League.
I think it was. Yeah, no, fine. That's what he's.
talk like that.
He went on to creator of the In-Between, is Ian Morris?
Yes.
Yeah, so he went off to
This
get
is how he
roe and
started.
chips. Because the thing was, and this is why he did well in television, is that he didn't say what is roe. He just off he went.
Yeah.
So he came back with roe and chips. He got it, but he bought 7. There was 7 roe with the chips. He didn't know how many people had. Which is like getting 7 fishes, basically.
Wow. How
Fishes,
extraordinary.
7 fishes, 7 fish. What's the right?
Can I ask a
What's
question?
the right plural for that?
Well-
Loaves and fishes. So seven
Frank.
fishes.
Okay.
Can I raise a practical question at this point?
Go on.
What is roe?
You don't know either.
No.
Roe, it's cod roe, and
Oh.
it comes battered in fish and chip shops. It's like a disc of fish eggs.
Oh, how lovely.
Because caviar is roe.
Oh, yeah, I know that. So maybe I could try that with my Savoy.
Have you had your Savoy yet?
No.
No, I knew that was all tall.
Anyway,
Battered
we've got to
Savoy.
go to the break in a minute, so I don't know what to do. Because I've not finished my story.
What were the audience doing?
Well,
that
no,
was-
but we can carry on after the break. There's no Laura Guinea.
Okay, fine.
Okay, I've said again. What about it? I might say ain't later.
Please don't.
Yeah, I'm going to do that, and that ain't a thing you can do about it.
Oh.
Very nice.
Yeah, I only ever hear that on trains. People on the phone, and blokes in suits. I said to him, well, they can say 11k if they like, but I'm not going there, and that ain't a goddamn thing they can do about it. They say goddamn sometimes. I mean, come on, guys. You can't tell them. It doesn't, it's out of order.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
You'd left us hanging, Em. What did this audience at the festival do?
So at the festival...
Festival is a new film.
Yeah. And it's great fun. I'm enjoying the movie. However, I didn't like the people sitting nearby me. Now, I'm at a premiere. I think there's a basic entry-level standard of behaviour.
You'd become a Prime Minister somewhere.
Imagine if that's how I announced it.
Yeah.
But firstly there's a man next to me, and he was laughing whilst moving, and I don't like that. He was laughing loudly, which I know you two as comics will be a huge sort of fan of.
Absolutely.
You want that.
But don't do this in your chair. I mean, I appreciate I'm on the radio, you can't see. But just
sort of Edward Heath style.
Yeah.
He was sort of extrovert tumble dryer. Just sit still and laugh. It was too much.
That's strict. I've got to tell you.
What about this one? You think, okay, I will listen to you both.
Okay.
What about the woman behind me who adopted a sort of Nostradamus approach to the film, saying what was going to happen and then describing it whilst it was happening? So she would say things like, oh my God, he's going to get her there and she won't even be there.
Oh, so she... Oh, yeah, that's
She was
awful.
telling me.
Yeah.
Polly Crowther used to do that.
He's going to come back in the tent and she's going to find him.
Crowther was a woman... I think my dad knew her. Anyway, she used to go to the cinema and sit and go, oh, he's not going to go in there now. Oh, no, this one. And, oh, we're not going in there. And did a lot of that.
Oh.
At one point she went, oh, look, he's angry.
Yeah.
I don't need you to tell me that. So that sort of slightly, it just took 10% off the evening. And don't get me started on Ian McKellen and the woman next to me, who during King Lear started getting out lavender oil and rubbing it all over her elbows.
Her elbow.
Does nobody nudge these people when they do it?
Yes, I do. I kick them sometimes. But
you don't want to be nudged back by somebody with lavender oil on their elbow.
That's a good point.
Go home smelling like a pensioner. I've gone home smelling like a pensioner before now.
Frank, there's just a lot of movement, I find. Do you find this with audience?
I think, as I say, being an audience is a completely lost art. I think it's too much sitting at home watching Netflix and talking and moving about and getting a cup of tea and all that.
Yeah.
And also people have, in the age of the smartphone, people can't resist looking at emails. They've got their Apple watches.
Right, yeah.
Well, what are we going to do?
I went the other way. I saw the festival yesterday, and I found the solution is I saw it on my own. There was nobody else in the cinema. It's a good film. I don't want to decry its box office.
Great advert for the movie.
It's a really fun film, but it's quite a weird. And then there's the suspense where you're really hoping no one else comes in at the last minute.
I've found that what I've done is I've just learned to accept that there will be other noise and people checking things. Otherwise, it'll drive you crazy.
Okay, well, I'm afraid I'm not able to do that. So
that's life. That's what the people say. Frank, just do the straight melody. That's life. Frank.
So you've gone all zen now.
You just got to get people on the phone and all sorts of stuff in cinemas.
You've seen people on the phone?
Yeah.
Getting their phones out?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah, we had it when we went to Skyfall, Frank. Not Skyfall, the other one. We went to the Bond together, didn't we?
Which one did we go to then?
I don't know, but I remember there was a scene and there was a woman saying, we've got that sofa. Don't you remember when there was a big shootout? The woman on my left said, we've got that sofa.
To be fair, it was Dame Judi Dench. I went to, I think it must have been Skyfall. I always remember this. I get
it's the one with the Sam Smith music.
Yeah.
Writings on the wall.
It could be anything.
I don't know. Something.
So, I that thing when you leave, I don't know if women get this, but do you get this, Steve? You leave a cinema, and if it's something like James Bond, you move a bit differently, a bit like you're James Bond. Yeah. Just feel a bit more like you're a bit of spice. I still get it now in my 60s. I remember I got back to my car, and I was really glad that I'd got a thing that I could press the button and the car would open, like I was in the gadget world. I remember I just sort of leaned across, and the way I leaned across was a bit Daniel Craig-ish. Just I held it in a sort of a ping.
I bet it wasn't.
It's inside me. It was. It felt Daniel Craig. So I did it, and you know when you do that, the doors open, the lights come on, and I just saw the light come on the child's seat in the back. Oh, maybe not.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
So, Emily, we were talking about you being annoyed by the noise of audiences in cinemas.
Sounds
and
like
theatres. There's a story from Slovakia this week of a woman who has driven her neighbours crazy for 16 years by playing the same 4-minute aria over and over again at full volume, playing a bit of La Traviata, performed by Placido Domingo to drown out the barking of a neighbour's dog.
Yeah.
And she did it every day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Even though, can we say she continued after the dog had passed away?
Yeah.
Okay. Could have gone.
And then she's now finally been arrested.
Yeah.
So someone snapped 15 years was fine, but 16 is the absolute limit.
What happened to years 1 through 15?
Do you think it's actually about 10 times a day for about 6 months? Is the truth?
Well, this is what I think.
See,
I mean, you know.
Yes, they've been very patient, the neighbours.
Yeah.
So she never leaves the house, apparently, this woman.
When you say this woman, do you mean Eva N?
Yes, Eva N.
Why is that? Is that a sort of Eastern European thing that you have an initial for a surname like Joseph K?
Is that
Eva
right?
N?
That's how
Yeah, she's called Eva N.
Oh.
Yeah, I like it.
Is that for privacy reasons, do we think?
Oh, fine. Suddenly she cares about privacy, keeping it low.
It's like
she's
LL
called
Cool J.
Yeah.
Eva N.
She could face 3 years in jail. The jury have retired to consider their verdict.
Bad news for the other prisoners.
Yeah.
She's going to be next. It's not even, you know, La Traviata, the big one is.
Yeah.
There's not even that.
No.
I mean, she's gone for like a lesser tune.
Yeah.
I've got a memory of, I think on Fantasy Football, you and David did the drinkings on the. There's definitely, I think I've seen a thing of you two rewriting that for like World Cup '94 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
There's a bit where you're going, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is this?
Are you thinking of The Nightmare Before Christmas?
Quite possibly.
What's this? No, I don't know what you're talking about, Steve, but it's lovely that you remember the show at all.
I get my alerts from kafkadesk.org. I don't know about you, that's where I get my news alerts.
Is that like Somerset
Yes,
Live?
it's my version of Somerset Live. But they were saying that...
Is that where the news story comes from, Kafka?
Kafkadesk.org.
That's why they only use her initial. It's a Kafka technique.
Yeah, and it's written by men just in suits and bowler hats. Who
Yeah,
don't
and you
say
never
much.
quite know what their job is. But you just
They don't
feel
really speak to you.
You're somehow trapped in their bureaucracy.
Yeah.
They said it was, and I trust them, obviously. I'm frightened not to. But they said it went on from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Every day.
Yeah.
The same song. So, I mean, you could probably do the math on this if it's 4 minutes
You do
long.
the math. Love people that say that. Really makes me fancy them.
So 10 o'clock to...
6 a.m. to 10 p.m, darling.
So how many hours is that? 12
Steve,
hours?
sort of thing you'd know?
16 hours.
16 hours. So 16 hours, 4-minute tracks, you play it 15 times.
Yeah.
So 16
Steve?
times 15, that's how many times? Come on, Steve.
Goodness me.
Oh, come on, then.
I'm out of my
16
depth.
times 15.
Well, you don't know it.
I know, but I'm not. Do I look like a maths
Well,
type?
guess what? I do know it, and it's 240. No, that's wrong.
Anyway, she
I
plays.
think it is 240.
No, it is, Steve. It is.
Whatever it is,
It's 240. I've done it on calculator.
I have to say she's completely spitting in the face of absolute no repeat guarantee. Never has it been flouted more completely than by her.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were discussing Eva N and her taunting her neighbours for 16 years. Is there a song, Frank or Emily, you could listen to if you had to choose a song that you were going to be forced to listen to for 16 years?
Well, I'd go for something with a narrative. Because I would find that more interesting. I don't just want Ooh Baby for 16 years. I would want something like Jolene. Because then with the more I hear it, the more layered, the more I might.
yeah.
It's like reading a novel, isn't it? Do you see? You're looking a bit sceptical. You're grimacing.
Well, I have since I've had a child, I know what it is to listen to the same piece of music over and over.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if there's even songs I love. I think I could drive myself to despising them.
Okay.
It's a dangerous bit. I lived next door to a man when I lived in Bedsits in Birmingham.
Sorry about this section, a bit depressing.
A man who only had 2 records, and he used to play Blue Mondays. Ding, 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 ding,
Blue Monday, yeah.
yeah,
What,
Blue
a new
Monday.
on your order, Blue Monday?
Yeah, and he used to play that and Love Missile F-111.
Oh, Zig Sputnik. Yeah.
And he just used to interchange those. But I mean for hours. He would do that for hours.
Okay.
And they're both great tracks,
Yeah.
but after a while.
Do you think people felt this a bit about It's Coming Home throughout the summer?
That's possible.
I mean, I've got to
that
be
is
honest, though, I
certainly
never
possible.
felt that.
Well,
Yeah.
Boz, for example, just lately, my child Boz is very, very much into the final countdown.
He sung it to me the other day.
Oh, did he?
He loves the opening bars.
Yeah.
And he gets very ready. He gets prepared for it like he's on stage.
So I think at the moment he's mad about the final countdown and Eye of the Tiger. So I think there's a theme in it. It's a sort of a very specific riff rock stuff.
Got triumphant as
80s
well.
hair bands.
So I tried him on a few, what I thought, one of the classic riff rock music. I thought, Layla.
Great idea.
Yeah.
So I played Layla. Did I ever tell you I went for lunch with Eric
Eric
Clapton?
Clapton. Oh, yeah. What does he say again?
I came back from the toilet with me going I just hadn't thought about it.
Did he say anything?
He said, don't do that. Anyway, so I played him Layla, and he said, I like it. And I said, but you don't love it. He said, I wouldn't kiss the man who wrote it. I thought, what fabulous piece of music criticism.
Enemy?
Yeah, sort of Lester Bangs quote or something. I wouldn't kiss the man who wrote it.
Oh, I love that.
I'm going to use that.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We were discussing what song, if you had to listen to a song every
Two
day
things
for
I've gone off quite a lot.
What?
coffee and tea.
Coffee and TV.
Have you?
I think if they both disappeared, I think I might be all right. That's not quite true.
I thought
Coffee,
I've gone
sorry.
off curling up on the sofa with a red wine, which is what people always
In a
say on the
onesie.
dating. Yeah, I've gone off curling
What
up.
were those other things? Slankits.
Oh, I
Do you
love
remember
slanky. I loved a slanky.
that? Gone. Onesies, they were massive, weren't they, at one point?
Can we do whatever happened to Frank for the
What happened to onesies?
Yeah.
I think. I'm
Yeah.
sure they still exist, but they don't
come
have
back.
the kind of profile they used to have.
The onesie show could be a...
I think
Yeah.
they were a byproduct of the national obesity crisis.
This is
Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
we were talking about if you had to listen to a song repeatedly for 16 years.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking what I'd go for. And I like the idea of an instrumental. If you had to listen to something, an instrumental would suit me. I think Chariots of Fire would be, if you had to have it on repeat, because you'd get stuff done. You'd get everything done in slow motion, but it would give your life a kind of epic feel. So even just doing the washing up with dun, 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 you'd sort of feel inspired.
I used to, there's a couple of songs I used to play before I went on stage. One was If Women Like Them, Like Men Like Those, Why Don't Women Like Me by George Formby. Just because
Yeah.
it makes me feel incredibly happy for some reason.
I understand
Yeah.
that.
And also Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire.
Oh,
I used
yeah,
to play
great.
before I went on.
I'd
Something
probably,
about the Mexican trumpet.
Elvis's Better Land. What's it called again, Frank? I don't know. Yeah. Is it called Better Land? You know what I mean?
Oh, no.
What's it called?
If I
again?
Can Dream.
Yeah, If I Can Dream. That.
There
is a
must
good-
be lights burning brighter somewhere.
Yeah,
Those songs
when
that
I hear the
inspire
beginning
you.
of that, I feel inspired.
What about
Okay.
that Elvis song that says, born in the heat of the desert, My mama died giving me life.
A bit depressing.
And then it goes on to
Getting a bit dark on Absolute Radio.
something my father blamed for the death of his wife.
getting
It
worse.
opens like that.
Keep it light, Elvis.
Yeah, come on, Elvis.
He never kept it light.
I wouldn't go for that. I'd go for the Benny Hill theme tune. That'll get stuff done.
Yeah.
Not in the current climate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, not
The stuff it would get done that worries me. Yeah. Sitting in parks trying to see up nurses' skirts.
Tossing a coin.
Is that
and then
the
it
way
goes.
forward? I don't think so.
What about when he tossed a coin and it went down the dress and then Julius Caesar came up smiling? I mean, come on.
Oh,
It's crass.
yeah. I mean, he had his moments, Benny, but
Yakety sax no more.
it's gone. That's right. Is that what it was called, Yakety sax?
Yeah.
Okay. Good that you know that, though. Respect. I think we got a jingle for that, haven't we?
Have we?
Wiki Stevia, Steve knows stuff.
Oh,
There you
that's
go.
Really
delighted.
good.
Absolutely delighted.
Right, no, you can't use it in your next day. And that's about all from us. So we'll be back. Yes, if the good Lord's. I can't even remember the ending. I think I've got Legionnaires.
Whatever happened to Legionnaires?
I went on a log
No one
flume.
gets that anymore.
I was on a log flume on Tuesday.
Did you
And
go
I
back
think
to the 70s?
I think that's a classic Legionnaires collection point. Anyway, yes, so if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Be seeing you.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.